What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with a lucky dip reaction, and this one comes from Nigel and is in fact a tune mentioned to me many moons ago when I reacted to Hazel O'Connor's Will You, which has one of the most stunning saxophone sections I've ever heard, with flourishes and flares and all sorts of character and verve. People mentioned it's one of a handful of famous saxophone tracks, and one that people commented at the time that was also worth listening to was Gerry Rafferty's Baker Street. So yes, Nigel has provided this tune, and that's all I know about it, that at some point we are going to hear saxophone. The only Baker Street I'm familiar with is the Baker Street from the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle Sherlock stories, 221B Baker Street. And I don't know, I mean, I'm assuming it actually is a street in London, though I don't know any features or attractions or entertainments it may have. So if there is a real-world specific reference happening here, I won't be in a position to catch it, or at least not knowing anything in advance, I may miss some detail in that regard. In any case, let's hear it. This is Gerry Rafferty. The song is Baker Street, and it's a tune provided by Nigel, as a lucky dip.
Light in your head and dead on your feet. Well, another crazy day. You'll drink the night away and forget about everything. This city desert makes you feel so cold. It's got so many people, but it's got no soul. And it's taking you so long to find out you were wrong when you thought it held everything. You used to think that it was so easy. You used to say that it was so easy, but you're trying now. Another year and then you'd be happy. Just one more year and then you'd be happy, but you're crying now. Way down the street there's a light in his place. He opens the door, he's got that look on his face, and he asks you where you've been. You tell him who you've seen, and you talk about anything. He's got this dream about buying some land. He's gonna give up the booze and the one-night stands, and then he'll settle down in some quiet little town and forget about everything. But you know he'll always keep moving. You know he's never gonna stop moving, 'cause he's running.
It's a fade out I will accept, especially because the saxophone, it's like it'll just keep wailing into eternity, off into the horizon. But it's interesting though, like, I remembered, and maybe I'm just misremembering, that people had said, oh, this other song, Baker Street, it's another great saxophone track. I feel like maybe the main sax riff here was at least in part an inspiration for Hazel O'Connor's tune. I actually don't know if that's the chronology, if that this one comes earlier, but this feels kind of like a 70s tune, and I think the Hazel O'Connor track was an 80s tune. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm not remembering, but people told me that the saxophone riff and riffing in Will You was in some way built upon the main riff here. Maybe it's just a similar kind of vibe that I'm getting, and maybe there's no direct connection, but definitely the sax is so impactful every time it comes in. And it's not doing anything crazy, meaning it's not like, really soloing and kind of all over the place, but it's such a strong riff and it's played so emphatically that it really hits every time it comes around. Now, having said that, two things. One, the verses have this kind of stripped down, like folk rock kind of feel, whereas the chorus is a bit bigger, or the sections with the sax riff are a bit bigger. And then secondarily, there's a lot of other musical elements going on here, kind of like chimes, and I think there's strings at some point. There's like hand drums, it sounds like, as well as, like cymbals that are like, rushing and crashing with the guitar. So yeah, it's a very full arrangement and composition. Lyrically, I didn't catch everything, and what I did catch, it felt like they were little vignettes about, people and their lives and their stores or their homes on this Baker Street. So yeah, maybe I'm misreading that, but it felt like there was some different mini scenes that were being presented over the course of the track. I do enjoy his vocals. It wasn't like holy smokes, did you hear that vocal performance? But it felt like it hit the right vibe. It was in the vein of the rest of the track. And, again, even though I didn't get a sense for what the story was, or the stories plural were, he sort of had this storytelling type of sound with his vocals. So yeah, a cool tune. Let me know what you think. Again, big shout out to Nigel, and I will see you next time. Peace.